Hi, welcome back to Tamara's Tarot and Oracle channel. I thought I would put together, well, I say a quick little video, but we shall see, on how to understand the court cards in any tarot deck. And I kind of just started putting this together just now. And I made myself all these little notes and things that make sense to me and work for me. And I'd like to share my ideas of who I believe the courts to be and what I believe the courts to stand for with all of you. And hopefully it may resonate with some of you and help you along your tarot journey. So I have decided to use the courts from the deck of the Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery by Robert M. Place. It's a fantastic deck, and there's a fantastic book that accompanies this deck, which I do not have. It's quite heavy reading and just such a wealth of information. It does come with a really good little white book. But anyway, I digress. So I have taken out all 16 courts from this deck. I chose this deck in particular because the courts are just beautiful and bold and simplistic and just really attractive and appealing. It follows the pre-Raphaelite Edward Burne-Jones, that type of style, which really appeals to me. So that's also why I gravitated towards this deck in particular. I have a handful of decks where the court cards are just absolutely fantastic, but I just wanted to hone in on one and use this one in particular as the example for what I'm about to share with everyone. Along with the help of Ethony Dawn's Your Tarot Court, which I recommend because it's a very easy to get through read. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I just mean that it's not so convoluted. And when I say it's not hugely academic, like it's just it's easy to follow. It's easy to understand. It gets to the point. It explains what it has to. And it just makes sense to me and it works for me. So I like this one. I do have another one, not Barbara Moore, Mary Greer, I think. And that one, I'm not saying it's not good. It's just, there's just more to it. And just, I feel like this one just, it doesn't deter you from wanting to learn about the courts, especially if you're starting out and you don't want to feel sort of overwhelmed and that kind of thing. So this is a great book where I did pick apart some of the keywords that I used to express and describe the various court cards. So basically, I don't really have any rhyme or reason here exactly. I'm just going to kind of begin. We'll start with the lady. The ladies are the pages or the princesses of this particular deck. And we start with the lady or the page or princess of wands or staffs, I believe it's known as in this deck, The Sevenfold Mystery by Robert M. Place. For me, wands is fire and it signifies the season of spring, the spark that creates life, and the rebirth of all the things that have died off from the winter. So for me, the Lady of Staffs, I would identify her with, in Ethony Dawn's book, she calls the Page of Wands Peter Pan. And I get it. I think for her, I came up with I just came up with, my keyword for this one in particular was child of free will. This particular energy is more of a reckless energy, a very free-spirited, feisty, energetic energy. I'm definitely prone to impulses and erratic behavior or Someone that is impatient, quick to tire, quick to, what am I trying to say? Like gets bored easily. So isn't great at following things through and can kind of come in and cause a bit of a scene, but they're just so much fun. And there's just such a great playful energy about them and whimsicalness, I guess you could say. And so, I kind of look at this as the really rebellious energy of the court cards. And also they're still so young in spirit and energy that they have yet to mature and yet to kind of tone down a bit. So there's all this very erratic, very fiery nature with the pages of wands, or in this case, the Lady of Staff. So what I have here, I made a note that, yes, for me, she's the child of free will, just a very highly spirited, young, youthful energy. Peter Pan also makes perfect sense. I never want to grow up. I don't need to think about the future. I don't need to think about responsibility, and I don't want any part of that because I just want to have fun and come and go as I please and kind of just push my stuff onto others and have them kind of just figure it out and leave me to it, or leave me alone. For me, the pages represent Earth, from whence they come. And for me, the Earth is a more grounding energy. So for me, this represents fire of Earth because fire represents the wands or the staffs. And Earth being what the page or princess or lady in this case is of. So it's a more grounding fire energy. So there's definitely, resilience, or what do I want to say? Like for me, when I think about it logically, the soil can put out the fire. So there's definitely, I think there's still like the confidence that needs to develop and the maturity for this particular energy to really get carried away. Like there's still that groundedness, which keeps them from becoming extra reckless and dangerous, if that makes sense. That's how it makes sense in my mind. So yeah, so this would be fire of Earth. And I think that's all I wanted to say about this one in particular. So we'll just go to the next page, or princess or lady of cups, or chalices, I think it is in this deck. And she is the empath. She's such an intuitive, deeply emotional, feeling kind of energy, dramatic, temperamental, creative, imaginative, unique, just someone who loves to express herself through forms of art, maybe like poetry, writing, acting, in a way to portray a part of herself that she isn't otherwise able to convey or express. She can be, deeply misunderstood. I feel like people who are of a more sensitive and emotional nature are oftentimes misunderstood. They are more, they're more of a gentle soul. And so they're easily picked on perhaps, and could be impressionable. And just, they sort of can make easy targets, because they're not super like assertive and aggressive, and maybe always believe the most in themselves and stand up for themselves as much as they should. And because it is still the page, it's a very childlike, youthful type energy, and a very fragile, very, I'm trying to think of the word, delicate, I guess you could say, but playful and loving and caring, and compassionate for others. So that's a really nice energy. And for me, because the page is Earth, this would be water of Earth, because cups or chalices represent water. And as we know, those two elements work beautifully together because water helps things grow within the earth. And so it's a very nourishing, very harmonizing energy. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to say. So I think that's about it. So she's the empath to me. Okay. She feels greatly. Okay, let's move along. Okay, so the lady or the page of swords, according to Ethony Dawn, is the detective. I like to call the page of swords the debater. They have great ideas and they're quite precocious, and they love to learn, and they love to problem solve, and they love to pick things apart and put things back together, using their mind to decipher and to explore deeper understanding. And the debater is somebody who defends their beliefs, and they can be defensive and argumentative and all that. And they're also quite cunning and maybe could be sly at times, or just feisty and just ready to kind of, no, it's like this. But I mean, they obviously have to mature and to kind of grow into themselves. So they may be prone to gossip, or could be gossip of others, just because they may say things and be too quick to speak. For Ethony Dawn, she calls the page of swords the detective. And I can see that. Definitely they do pay close attention to detail, and it's more of an emotional response. It's more going with their keen sense of wit and interest in deeper knowledge and understanding and facts and things that scientifically, mathematically, logically make sense. So for me, swords is air, so it would be air of earth. And I kind of feel like air and earth is somewhat neutral. I don't really feel like it benefits one another, but I don't really feel like it destroys one another either. And I just want to think, is there anything else I want to say? I don't think so right now. Moving along, the lady or the page of pentacles. I love her. She's the naturalist, I believe. Yes, I have her down as the naturalist. Sometimes the page of pentacles is also like the scholar, the student who goes back to school. I mean, they're all students. Pages are all students. But I feel like, with the page of pentacles, they're very hands-on, and they're very practical, and they like to experience things firsthand. And for the naturalist, she loves nature, and she loves the beauty of nature, and just being one with nature, and very the spirituality that comes with that, and feeling one with the animals and the plants and all that. And this is earth of earth, and earth of earth is it reinforces the element of pentacles even further. It's a very strong, very steady, very stable kind of energy. I think that's all I wanted to say about her. Moving into the knights, to me, knights are air because of their questing and their journeying, and they're moving around, and now they're not staying so much in one place, even if some move faster or quicker than others. And so for me, the Knight of Wands or the Knight of Staffs is the adventurer, the dragon slayer. He's like the sportsman, or the he likes to take risks. Maybe he goes skydiving or rock climbing or some kind of extreme sport, and he can be quite charming and charismatic and flirtatious, but he's not so great at sticking around and seeing things through, especially when the going gets tough. So for me, because the knights are air and this is fire of air, and air moves fire along quite swiftly. So there's a lot of fast, swift movement and motion. And he's just always looking for the next adventure and the next exciting challenge to undergo. So that's the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Cups is water of air. So that's quite dramatic. He's quite sensitive and emotional, and I call him the lover or the romantic, or like Romeo or Casanova. And he's also quite soulful and sensitive and creative and spiritual and all that. So he moves a little bit slower than the Knight of Wands. I think he likes to kind of just sit and dwell in his not misery, but his emotions, and he kind of is as strong as his emotions are in that moment in time. But they are fleeting. So he still needs to ground himself more. So we have air and water. So that's quite like that airy, watery, kind of deep, kind of tumultuous energy going on. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. And then we have the Knight of Swords, and he's the warrior. To me, he's one of King Arthur's knights. He's very loyal, and he's very focused on what he has to do and how he has to do it. And he achieves the goal every time. He doesn't let anything stop him or anything get in the way. He can keep his emotions out of things, and he's not afraid of a challenge. And so for me, the Knight of Swords is air of air, and that's like swift movement, head first, raging into battle. Like there's nothing that will deter him or slow him down. He can be quite impulsive in that manner. And that can cause quite a bit of conflict and strife, but he's also very articulate and intellectual and stealth-like, and just I don't know, some of these words elude me, but in any case, he's somebody who you want to stand up for you and to defend you, to defend your honor. So that's the Knight of Swords. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles plodding along on his horse. You don't see his horse in this one. He's known as the soldier for Ethony Dawn, and I agree. He's just somebody who follows protocol, and he goes by the rules, plays by the rules, and he takes that very tried, tested, and true approach, and he's always there to serve others before himself, and he doesn't allow too much emotion or anything like that get in the way and cloud his judgment. Like he knows what he's there to do, and he's there to help, and he's there to improve things. And monetary means is important, and he knows what he has to do in order to attain that. So he doesn't allow too much to sway him off his path. So for this, the Knight of Pentacles is earth of air. So it's a more grounding energy, but there's still growth to be had, right? So when he becomes like the the king energy, the more masterful side of things, then he knows more of who he is and what he wants and where he comes from and where he's headed and all that kind of thing. So the knights are like that adolescent type of energy, and they're still developing, and they're still becoming who they're meant to be. The Queen of Wands is the performer. She's the inspiration, the creative energy, the creative driving force for me, for the wand suit. And I think she's just so beautiful. So for me, queens are water. So this is fire of water. And as you know, water puts out fire. So I feel like the water adds that kind of, the fire is like the sensuality, water sensuality, but it's like it kind of just tapers it down, and it kind of just keeps it at bay and keeps things in check, like in more control. The fire doesn't rage out of control because she's able to temper it, being a queen. So yeah, for me, the performer, because she's very bold and very confident and charming and charismatic and playful and warm and loving and all these great attributes of the fire, the wands suit, and isn't afraid to speak her mind, which may turn some off. I think she can go head to head with just about anyone. She's just got that bold brashness and confidence, which I really love about her. And then we have the Queen of Cups or Chalices in this deck, and she's the mystic. She's that deep, emotive, that intuitive, that kind of psychic, empathic, soulful type of energy. And this is water in water. So boy, oh boy, I mean, it doesn't get deeper and more saturated than that. So there's her chalice, her, I can't think what I'm saying right now. And, she's thinking of the deeper meanings behind everything. So she may give way to melancholic kind of behavior and moodiness, but she can also be such a loving and devoted and compassionate person. Also a bit overbearing at times, but I think all the queens can be when they put on their particular qualities to the nth degree. But she's just a very soulful, very inward kind of feeling person. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. So she's known as the mystic, and I agree with that. I really like that a lot. And the Queen of Swords, according to Ethony Dawn, is known as the judge, and I totally agree with that. She's very logical, very calculating, very witty and intellectual and fair and biased. And she's been through a lot, so she knows from experience firsthand, and she's not interested rather to put up with falsehoods or anything like that, any falsities, and people who don't live up to their word and don't follow through. I like that she's assertive and direct, and that can come across as kind of cold and callous or, unfeeling, but it's because she knows better. She's so wise beyond her years, especially from her experiences, that, she doesn't need to mince words. She doesn't beat around the bush. So this is air of water. So it's a very cooling effect. And that's why she may seem a bit cool, or cold, or unfeeling. She feels, but she doesn't express it in a way that, say, the Queen of Cups does. She doesn't exactly wear her heart on her sleeve. She keeps her sword close to her chest, and she keeps her feelings closely guarded because of what she's been through and what she's endured. But she's come out so much stronger for it. And then we have my favorite queen. I don't know if that's because I'm a Taurus, but the Queen of Pentacles, who is the healer. She embodies beauty and sensuality and just everything that's the tactile, the tangible, the manipulative, like earthly comforts and things like that. And she loves to help others. I think of words like philanthropic. Am I saying that right? I feel like I'm not saying that right. I'm so tired. It's the end of the day, so forgive me. But she's just assertive, and she is somebody who is committed, and she is there in the blink of an eye to help you and to be there for you and to support you. And this is the Queen is water, so it's earth of water. So that's a beautiful, harmonious coupling. She's next to the Empress. To me, she's the Empress of the court cards. And she believes in aesthetics and beauty. And I look at her almost like a socialite and somebody who likes to do things for good causes and likes to get her hands dirty and really get in there and work with others and help others as best she can. Very charitable and very giving and very loving. And I think the healer is a great word to describe the Queen of Pentacles. I wonder if it's discs. I think it might be discs in this particular deck, but you know what I mean. Okay, I'm running low on energy. The King of Wands is the entrepreneur. He's fire. The kings are fire. And he's quite dynamic, and he's quite excitable and fiery, and definitely somebody who can have a hot temper. But he's just got a big heart, and he'll do anything to help his own and to help those in need. And I mean, for me, the entrepreneur, he's somebody who takes ideas and he just makes them into his own and makes them so much better and so much more exceptional. So he's a very fiery, very dynamic, very charismatic, at times eccentric even type of energy. And then we have the King of Cups, and he's the counselor to me, or the philosopher. I think Ethony Dawn referred to the King of Cups as Hades. It didn't really resonate with me, but I prefer to call the King of Cups the philosopher or even the counselor, because he's water, fire. He's able to put out fires. He's able to, I don't know if consolidate is the right word, but he's able to help ease tension off things, and just help people with conflict, help with conflict resolution, and help people to find the goodness in them. So he's a very fair and just king, and he is for the most part in control of his emotions, in control of his feelings. And he believes in love, and he believes in equality and human rights, and searching within oneself and understanding the meaning of life, and just being there for his fellow man. So philanthropy. I was trying to say that earlier, and I may have said it okay or may not have. I don't know. But I believe he's a big believer in that as well, and helping others and for a good cause, and really understanding people. He loves people. He loves to understand people, and he loves people to come to him and to aid in his counsel, or for him to aid rather with his counsel. So that is the King of Cups. Really nice looking King of Cups. I think these courts are absolutely phenomenal. I can't say enough good things. The King of Swords. So Ethony Dawn refers to him as the scientist. I do see that. He's very exact, very logical, very unbiased, very, it's black and white. I like to call him actually the chess player. He's all about strategy. He's always 10 steps ahead. He's always about seeing the big picture in a very methodical, but very complex, very detailed sort of way, in a way that not many of us truly know or can understand or appreciate. So he is somebody who you want in your corner for legal counsel, or somebody who's going to help in ways of, I look at him and the King of Cups, like I look at them together as like they help people in areas of like law and counsel, because that's where their expertise is. It's really about people, and it's really about honing in on what's fair and what's just and what's equal and what's good and right. I feel like they deal more with human resources and in human capacity. Let's say, to me anyway, instead of say the King of Wands. I mean, he does take care of his own and everything, but it's not in the same way as the Cups and the Swords, the kings of those suits. This is air of fire, so this makes things happen quite quickly, quite swiftly with resolution. And then the King of Pentacles is more about, it's not just about making money and everything, but it's not, I just feel like the King of Cups and the King of Swords are more about humanitarian efforts, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It does to me at this moment. So that's the King of Swords. And last but not least, the King of Pentacles. Ethony Dawn refers to him as the manager. Yes, he does. He manages money, his family, his everything in his life and his world and his, I'm trying to think what else I would call him, like a business owner, but like he's somebody who is very competent and knows how to, I'm sorry guys, I'm like totally wiped. But anyway, the King of Pentacles is earth of fire. So he's able to be very grounded and kind of keep that dynamic fiery energy at bay and really focus on staying grounded of his earthly comforts, of his earthly efforts and labors and, you know, hard work and the people that work with him. Like he's a very loyal, very loving, very honest and devoted father and husband. And he represents everything of this earthly realm, and like Midas's touch, everything he touches turns to gold. And he's just a very devoted person who really wants to help those in need. I mean, all the kings want to help those in need. Yeah, I just want to think about if there's anything else I want to say. Earth of Fire. No, I think that's it. I wanted to maybe say something else or more things, but I think this video is getting way too long. It's now a half an hour or so. But I just wanted to touch on what these quartz represent to me, and their place with all the elementals and everything like that, and how I've kind of made sense of it. Like, do I know everything about them? And no, I don't, but I have a pretty good understanding, and I hope that in some way this has helped you to connect with them better. And I hope that some of what I've said resonates, and that would make me happy. And that's all I want to say for now. So thank you so much for watching. And if you've stuck with it this far, I appreciate it. You're awesome. And I'll see everyone really soon. Thanks, guys. Take care.